Is Undertone the scariest movie of the year? Let's do the spoiler-free, no-hype review. What's up, cretins? What's up, creeps? My name is Chris. I am the only person talking horror on the internet. Hit me with the follow, help me get to 5K before my 2-year anniversary this June. In Undertone, paranormal skeptic podcaster Evie Babick moves in with her terminally ill mother to serve as caregiver in her final days. Evie and her podcast co-host Justin receive recordings from a couple experiencing paranormal activity in their home. The audio brings Evie into a state of paranoia as she begins having trouble deciphering what's in the recordings and what's happening in her own life. There's your movie. Alright, let's bring this up so we can break this down. First-time feature director Ian Twasson doesn't introduce himself as the new director on the scene so much as he kicks the door down and demands that you acknowledge him as such with his outright assault on your senses, Undertone. Honestly, dude's years ahead of where he should be. He uses drastically off-center framing and low lighting to tell you that there's something lurking within all of the empty space of his film. And over time, the unease of that builds to an outright terrifying conclusion. This is visual storytelling, a voyeuristic conveyance of Evie existing in a space where she is not welcome, and by proxy, neither are you. Perfectly executed, 15 out of 15. His lead actress, Nina Kiri, has a breakout performance as Evie, showing her capabilities by essentially carrying the entire film as really the only active character on screen. Evie's mother is on her deathbed stationary, and the rest of the cast is voice only. And they're all fine, they do what they're supposed to do. There were a few moments where I maybe didn't buy fully into their reactions, but some of that may have been more dialogue related than performance based. But really, Kiri does enough to carry this without it ever feeling like it's a one-woman show, which it essentially is. 12 out of 15. The screenplay does most things right. I love that they conveyed to the viewer in the first few minutes that there will be a total of 10 recordings that will be listened to. I loved the build to and the ultimate culmination of everything as the story progressed. The dialogue is fine, if not a tad on the plain side. You do have to keep in mind that these are podcasters, and successful ones at that. So their discussion should be sharp, witty. I should hear why people tune into them. And I don't know that I necessarily did. Further, the recordings are really the thing that grabs you. You'll see, first 10 minutes, kind of like, where is this going? And then the recordings start and you're locked in. I really think we should have spent more time listening to them, and I think that more should have happened in them. 10 out of 15. To answer the question at the top, yeah, the hype is real. Undertone is not only the scariest movie of the year, it's the scariest movie in years. And it's not moments, it's something that builds within you. So much of that has to do with Twasson's restraint, because I found myself outwardly dreading what was going to happen next, because he knows what not to show you. I felt not only on edge during the final act, truth told, I felt like I was putting myself in danger by continuing to watch it. A more than deserved, perfect 10 out of 10. Undertone was shot in Twasson's own home, and it shows because he knows how to present every corner of his setting with an almost uncomfortable level of familiarity. His use of sound is incredible. I had heard that you should see it in the theater with the best sound system possible, and since that's not something that you typically hear, I was intrigued, so I waited an extra 2 hours to catch it in Dolby, and especially for that final act, I couldn't agree more. It's how it needs to be seen. 9 out of 10. Regarding the story, I liked the ideas that were being presented, but I do feel that we could have spent the entire 94 minutes just recording the podcast and it would have been a tighter film. We introduced subplots including the meaning behind children's songs, religious iconography, parenthood, caring for a sick parent. It's not only unnecessary, but the podcast segments are the backbone to the movie, and there's one part where they record for like 5 minutes and then stop and say that they'll pick it back up in a few days. I mean, the movie as a whole feels like it's happening over the course of a night or two, but the actual passage of time is like 2 weeks. And I feel like it would have been tighter if it was told in a night or two without the extraneous information. 6 out of 10. Kills. It is not necessarily that type of movie, but they are there. Let's just say that this is not a movie that you go to for kills, but the choices made for the kills in the movie are exactly what they should be. So we can meet in the middle at a 5 out of 10. As far as originality goes, there are few movies that attempt the things that are done in Undertone. It is not entirely singular, but it's absolutely a fresh approach to the subject matter. 4 out of 5. Rewatchability, I thought this was a fascinating film. And really, that Dolby experience makes me want to catch it in theaters again because you can't replicate that at home. But this is not exactly something you can throw on daily either. You have to be in the mood for this type of movie. I think 3 out of 5 is accurate. Undertone legitimately scared the shit out of me, which is a rare occurrence. I loved the movie, but it's not the kind of thing that's exactly enjoyable. It's much closer to traumatizing. But that's what they're going for, and it is. It's almost a backhanded compliment to say that it's a 2 out of 5 for enjoyment. So overall, these add up to a possible 100 points, and when I chainsaw this off, your Massa score for Undertone is 76 out of 100. If you're keeping track or curious, that does put it as the highest Massa scored film of 2026 so far. I highly recommend that you see it, and again, in Dolby if possible. Kindred Spirits, Session 9, Relic, and hear me out before you write this off. For those who liked Skinamarink, this feels like if that movie was made for a wide audience. If you didn't like it, this is the movie that you hoped Skinamarink was going to be based upon what you read online. You may say Skinamarink done correctly. I thought that movie was effective. I appreciated what they were doing. I think everybody should see it once. I'll never watch it again. Undertone, I will be watching again and again until the day that I die, which may or may not be at Undertone's hands. That's all I got for you, cretins. That's gonna do it for today, creeps. Do all these things. Let me know if you saw Undertone and what you thought of it right over here. And as always, this is all just a matter of opinion. See it yourself, make your own decisions, remain critical, support horror.